Hi everyone, happy Sunday. It's Megan Lane. I hope you are all doing well and keeping busy while at home during this pandemic. If any of you are going to be joining me, feel free to let me know you're here. Join in anytime. I'm going to make some homemade whole wheat bread because a lot of us are having trouble getting staples right now, but you might be able to get the ingredients to make your own staples at home. So I'm going to show you how to make really easy, simple, just a few ingredients, a whole wheat bread. I'm going to bake mine in a wood stove, but you can do yours in a regular oven at home. So it's really simple. A bowl. So for those of you who have never made bread or are not used to making bread, get the quick rise yeast. This is really easy. You can make quick breads with it. I actually use it like a dry yeast, but you can read the instructions and use it for quick breads. A little bit of salt. I got sea salt. We're going to do a little bit of oil. You can omit the oil if you want, but I am going to use a little bit because my family likes when I put the oil in. And I just have some whole wheat bread or whole wheat flour, which I won't show you. It's whole wheat flour. And I have a little bit of all-purpose just at the end when I need to make it just a little bit of elasticity, I guess, would be the terminology. All right, so put that in there. Before we do anything, I'm going to put the salt and oil in. So the salt, I'm going to put in a full teaspoon. I got this cute little teaspoon. Put that in. You can add a little more, a little less. It's up to you, depending how salty you like your bread. I mean, there's no salt in the other ingredients, so keep that in mind. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of oil. I use olive oil. You can use any oil you like, or you can omit it. You don't have to put it in at all. So, got that. You can also put a little bit of sweetener, a little sugar or honey in at this stage if that's something that you like. In fact, I think I might put a little honey in mine. Why not? I have some. Might as well use it. Let's see. We'll put in about just a tablespoon. Put that in there. So, of course, if you're vegan, leave out the honey. But if you want to sweeten it up, whatever kind of sweetener you have, about a tablespoon should be good for this recipe. If you're using maple syrup, though, keep in mind it's going to burn a little bit. You may get a little bit of burning on the bottom. Put that right there of your bread. Same with the honey. You got to be careful, but I use a tablespoon. You should be okay. All right, just mix that up a little bit. So, and then we want to put our flour, and I'm going to put in 2 cups of whole wheat flour. Hi, let me know you're here. How's everything going with everyone? How are you managing? Hey, Karen, how are you managing through this pandemic? Are you keeping yourself busy making whole wheat bread? All right. Okay. So we're going to use about a tablespoon of this, but we also need warm water. So I have a measuring cup right here. All right, this might be a little hot, but I want about 1.5 cups. So it looks pretty hot. That's hot. Guess what? I got some cold water right here. Balance it out. So it should be hot, not hot enough to burn. You should be able to put your hand in there. All right. So it should be warm enough to touch, but you don't want to keep your hand in there too long. So you don't want to kill the yeast. So about 1.5 cups is going to go in with the 2 cups of flour. And I'm going to use a tablespoon of yeast. So this is going to make 2 small loaves or like a nice size loaf. And we're going to put in our water. Mix it up. Let's see, it's a good ratio, so it should mix up nice, and then we're going to add more flour after this. So you want it to be kind of sticky and messy, so we can add the flour, but all the ingredients are getting mixed in, especially the honey and the oil. You want them to get mixed in everywhere. Bread is really easy, guys. It doesn't take much, just a couple ingredients. So this is good. So I'm going to add in another full cup of whole wheat flour. That's 3 cups so far. 3 cups that I put in. I'm going to slowly mix this. Now, if any of you have a bread maker or the attachment for your processor, this can be really easy. I like to get right in there, especially right now. You know, we need to keep extra busy, so taking a little bit of time to do it yourself is not really a big deal. Maybe get the kids involved, learn how to make some bread together. This is a staple for most families, and why not learn to make it yourself? It's really easy. And this recipe minus the sweetener can be made into all kinds of different buns, pizza doughs, flatbreads. You can make it more sweet, less sweet. You can spice it up a bit. Really simple, easy. All right, so we've added 3 cups of flour so far, and now I'm going to add probably about another half a cup right here to my counter. And this is still pretty gooey, you can see, but that's okay. We're going to get real messy in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to put the other half. So we're up to 4 cups of flour. Hi guys, let me know you're here when you pop on. If you have any questions, if you just want to chat, let me know what you're going through, where you're at in the country, in the world. I'm here in the East Coast, and a lot of things are shut down. I thought making bread together would be a good idea because I've had a lot of questions about how to make it, and I've handed out a lot of recipes this week on making bread. It's a staple, and it doesn't take much. And this part right here, you can have the kids help out. It's super fun. So that flour that I just put in, that extra cup, was 4 cups now, and it's absorbed super fast. But it's not as sticky anymore, so we're going to add in about another half a cup. It's a lot of flour for bread, but like I said, we're going to get 2 decent loaves out of this, or 1 giant loaf. And just keep, I don't know if you can see, maybe I can tilt a bit here. Yeah. Just kind of fold it in on itself over and over. It gets stickier. You just add a little bit more flour. You guys like my shirt? And you just keep going, and all the flour, get in there. You start getting your muscles in there, guys. Don't be afraid to work the dough. Pull some off the counter here. So a good 5 to actually 10 minutes of kneading is what we're looking for. And you can go slow and stretch it out a little bit. But what you want it to get to is you want it to be kind of sticky, but not sticking to your hands. See, it's kind of still sticking to my hands. So we're going to keep going. And we're going to just keep adding flour a little bit at a time, not too much. And you see me? Shrink down. I'm already short, guys. I can't get the camera any further back or you'll be on the floor. All right, we just keep going, like I said, for 5 to 10 minutes. Usually, for me personally, I'm looking at about 7 to 8 minutes. I got muscle, but I'm little, and the counter's high. Karen, are you still out there? Are you good? Are you stocked up on everything? If you punch in the comments there, I can see it. All right, you guys get the drift here. I'm going to put you back so I can feel like I'm talking to you. You're not talking to my shirt. All right, so keep going. It's still a little sticky. I'm not going to add too much more flour, just little bits at a time now. because I don't want to over flour it. I don't want it to be too dry. But it's getting there. It's getting nice. I can feel it. But you see, it was only a couple ingredients. And if you guys, anybody who's watching this wants me to put it in the comments what exactly I used in case you missed it, let me know and I will. Okay. I'm just feeling pretty nice. I'm getting a workout. All right. So it's starting to feel a bit sticky. I think there's some at Shoppers Drug Mart in Newcastle. All right. I need a little bit more flour, believe it or not. All right. So getting her good now. So it's starting to feel pretty nice. So a good indication is when you stick, you put a little thumbprint in there and it pops back up, but not quite all the way. That's what we're looking for. But I think I'm going to give it another minute just because I want it a little more dense. Because I'm going to cook it in the wood stove, so it's going to cook a little longer than you would traditionally do it in the oven. So if any of you are going to make this in your oven, you're looking at about 375 to even up to 425 for your oven, depending how hot it gets. And you can leave it in there for about 30 minutes, anywhere up to over an hour, depending how you like your crust. And then I recommend, for best results, you let it cool on the counter for at least a couple hours. I know it's so tempting to dip into warm bread, but for best results, you should actually let it cool for a couple hours. It is a process, but it's worth it. It's so worth it. So learn to make some bread, guys. It's really easy. Gives you a bit of a workout. Right now, I think we all need a little bit of exercise. Most of us being cooped up at home. This is to get the gluten activated for elasticity. Elasticity. You want it to bind together good, and you want to activate all the yeast and everything. So the more you knead it, well, you don't want to over knead it, but you want to get a nice consistency so when it rises, it's not full of giant holes. So, plus, who doesn't like playing with their bread? All right, so this is just about ready. So in total, I added just over 5 cups of whole wheat flour. And I'll probably end up using another half a cup when I go to shape it, because we're going to do like I would do with a traditional yeast. Get rid of this bowl. So you can just put it in a bowl. I recommend a little bit of oil. You don't have to. I'm going to actually use this cap right here. It's probably like a 1/4 teaspoon. And I just want to get it all over, just to help it not stick. You can use flour if you want. I like the oil. Okay, all right, let's just put it in your bowl and find a nice warm spot. You can cover it with a damp towel, or I'm going to cover it with some plastic, just so it makes its own kind of environment in there and grows and activates all that nice yeast, because yeast is bacteria and it's alive and we need it to grow. So cover your bowl, make sure it's covered really well so it can keep in its the humidity in there it'll create. And hopefully it'll fill up this bowl, and I'll probably leave it probably for about an hour, so I'm not going to keep on for an hour. But what I'll do is, once this is doubled in size, and I can again put my finger in it and it indents but doesn't come back all the way, I'm going to actually punch out some of the air, roll it out, make my 2 shapes. Then I'll let it rise for another 20 minutes, and then I'll bake it. So it's kind of a long process, but it's so worth it. I'm going to get some delicious bread at the end, and I will make sure to take some pictures and show you guys when I'm all done. No, Karen, you don't have to knead it this much for the pizza dough. Just make sure it's mixed up really well, and you can maybe use a little less ingredients if you want, because it's going to make a lot. But no, you don't need to knead it as much, and just let it sit for about half an hour, and then roll it out a little bit. It's not as long as the bread. Okay, so that's how you make whole wheat bread, or you can use all-purpose flour, but please don't. It's so terrible for your health. And if you want even healthier, you can use sprouted grain flours. You can use different kinds of flour as long as you have some kind of rising agent in there. So I'm going to let this rise, and when it's done rising, I'll take some pictures of the process and post it as I go. So have a good day. Bye, Karen. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, you know how to find me. Bye, everyone. Stay safe.